A gloriously most wondrous good evening and a warm welcome to Two Full Tossers with myself, Dan Nicholl and Alan Committie. Brought to you this evening by Alan Dawson Gardening Services, looking after gardens across the southern suburbs with care and tenderness. Lovely to have all of you here with us, but loveliest of all, of course, to have Alan Committie. You are sitting, and yet I can still feel the skip in your step, Alan Committie, on the back of the fact that at the moment, I'm not sure there is a better sports team in the history of the world ever than the South African women's cricket team is right now.
Thank you, Dan. You're quite right. I've spent most of my Human Rights Day trying to find superlatives and adjectives that can describe them. I've gone through all the dictionaries. I've looked at Wikipedia. I've tried to find any reference book that would give me sufficient word to describe their brilliance, and I cannot find anything. The only way I can describe it, because I am a superhero nerd, is that they are now in the Marvel universe. Unlike the men's Proteas side, which is very much DC, trying very hard but never quite getting it together. But the women's side, every one of them superheroes, and yet somehow the team effort even more than the brilliant individuals in that collective. Unbelievable.
They are absolutely glorious. I'm kind of thinking if the West Indian cricket team of the 1980s had a child with Manchester United under Matt Busby, this would team just for its sheer audacious amazingness,
and multiplied by Lee Barnard. I need to say that, but I think Lee Barnard, Northern Transvaal, 1986-87, that combined with your ingredients, whoa!
Well, there we have it. You mentioned Lee Barnard. Let's get the most important thing out the way for tonight. Let's have a look at the picture for your lost legend. Who is Alan's lost legend? We'll find out a little later, but here's the whoa.
Now, this is ties into our guest tonight, because this gentleman played for the same part of the country that our guest played for. I wonder if you recognize him. He's no Lee Barnard, but he is our lost legend, and we'll find out more about him sooner than you think, but later than you'd expect.
All right, so we have a lost legend on the show. We also have a found legend who wasn't that easy to find, because every time we think we found him, he goes and plays for another team. But we've now found him, and we've tracked him down, and we're very excited because he has a rather special relationship to Alan Committie, and not just the fact that they are both very underrated late order finishers. So we'll meet him a little later, but there is some cricket to talk about. And I think the important one here is the great Australian conspiracy. Now, a little earlier this summer, Australia versus India, the Australians bowled out for a touch under 40. India bowled out for a touch under 40 in a test match. Now the Australians said, no, we can't have India having that record. We have to have it ourselves, instructing New South Wales in a Sheffield Shield game to be all out for 32 just a couple of days ago. They know no lows, these Australians.
They're extraordinary. They do plummet depths that you couldn't fathom. Oh, excuse me, that was me. Someone was just crossing over. They are incredible. But I will add here, Dan, on this Monday night, that even though they've done well to have two such low scores in one season, a border is still lower than that. In fact, I think border is half of both those scores added up together and multiplied by 3. So well done, border, winning always.
Indeed. South Africa keeping ahead of the game, even if it means being at the bottom of the game, so to speak, in so many words as such. Local cricket, and that again relates to our special guest. We've got the final coming up this week, the Titans against the Dolphins. And I suspect that you joined me, and a select, and I use that word deliberately, select number of people have been reveling in whiling away Monday mornings on the couch watching 4-day cricket, which doesn't really look different to 4-day cricket pre-pandemic, because the crowd sizes are exactly the same, but just the joy of watching long-form cricket.
The crowds are slightly bigger now, because some of those people don't want, the 2 or 3 people who are in the ground don't want to be indoors for fear of catching the COVID. So at least they're outdoors and we see them. But it has been quite simply a magnificent, and reminds me, I'm sure it does you, of when we were growing up and we used to watch all those 4-day games, and it was kind of on television all the time, so much so that you could dip in and out and catch up with the narrative of the game. This has been fantastic, and certainly Monday mornings have been a special treat.
It has been glorious, glorious indeed. It's the final coming up. It is in Durban. It's a 5-day domestic final, which is just delightful. It's about 4 3/4 days longer than the attention span of most modern cricket fans, sadly, but you and I will be watching every single ball. Who's your money on, the Dolphins versus the Titans?
My money is on the sun going down by 3 o'clock every day because it is Durban. So that's where my strong money is, and I'll not have anyone argue with me.
All right, there we go. That kicks off on Thursday, so much excitement this week. There is also looming the IPL, and most people think, well, this is a cricket show. Dan and Alan must be very excited. I'm reasonably excited about it, but the IPL it's never really been your cup of tea, is it, Alan?
It's, listen, I have no problem with T20 cricket. I get it. I get its appeal. The IPL is now in its 118th edition this season alone. Sometimes they play 2 or 3 seasons in a season. Sometimes there's seasons within seasons on the same day. And all the teams all look exactly the same. All I do now is, if I do kind of connect up with any one of the games by accident as I'm kind of scrolling through my television, is I find out how many South Africans are playing on which side, and if there are no South Africans on kind of on display, well, then I move on very quickly. So I'm sure it'll be tremendous. It's 2,500 games over the next 4 months. It'll be tremendous and riveting. Sorry, are we still talking about this?
So here's my prediction. This is going to be the season where we see Chris Gayle make a 9-ball 100 before being dismissed by Chris Gayle, caught at first slip by Chris Gayle.
But hasn't that happened already? Didn't that happen last season?
But that was the first season of last season, as opposed to the second season.
I missed that one.
Season.
Yes. I also think Virat Kohli says he's now going to open. I think everyone's just opening. All the best batsmen will be opening, and even the bowlers will be opening, not bowling, just batting. Everyone will be opening batting
at the same time from both sides.
Yeah, it's going to be fantastic.
All right. So it's important to know we take the IPL very seriously and we hold it in very high regard. And we're also only saying nice things about Chris Morris in the hope that he might buy us each a house. We've got some people watching. Nadeem Shahid enjoying the showdown. Nadeem Shahid might actually be, I think he used to play county cricket with very little success for Wessex or one of the other major counties. But there we go, Nadeem. Thank you very much. They have internet in Durban now, so lovely to have you on, and I'm glad you're enjoying the show. And we've also got somebody who thinks they've had a stab at our answer. Before we pop that answer up, let's go over and find out exactly who that picture is. The highlight of the sporting week globally. It's Two Full Tossers with Alan's Lost Legend.
Well, I wonder if you do know who this lost legend is. He's clearly no Lee Barnard, but look at that face. That is a face of an all-rounder, unparalleled in his side. Of course, he played for the Northern Transvaal. There he is batting, lovely left-hander, and he also turned his arm over occasionally, played a couple of one-day internationals for South Africa. He is, of course, the brilliant, forgotten hero. Look at that little mouth as he's clenching his lips. This is Mike Rindell. Did you know Mike Rindell? Lovely Mike. This is a man. Yeah, go on.
He was always one of those fabulous sort of bits and pieces cricketers and he also always looked like he used a very good conditioner.
Very good quality hair. And in fact, in one of his first ODIs, if I remember, he won man of the match, but actually mostly for his bowling. He took some great, like 2 for 15 or something, and then made an important 30. And that's exactly what you're saying. He was very much bits and pieces, but kind of quality was always kind of present. And I think people kind of forgot that, Mike Rindell was a bit of a legend, a lost legend, but no more. He has received his shout out, and we are glad to acknowledge him on this Human Rights Day.
Well, congratulations to Gary van Lochrenberg, who's a regular viewer, who's the only person who has got it right. Mike Rindell indeed. And congratulations, Gary. Coming to you, you will be receiving your prize this week, which is a faxed copy of the score sheet of the game in which Alan Committie took the catch, which dismissed Herschel Gibbs in 1987 in the southern suburbs of Cape Town. So if you can just send us your fax number, please, Gary, and we will have that sent through to you by return post first thing tomorrow morning. Right, so Mike Rindell is our Lost Legend inspired pick there, as is the pick of our special guest. And I'm super excited because it's not quite a father-son moment, but it's very close to it because you and our guest have a very special bond. So let's meet our guest so we can find out what that bond is on 2 full tossers in what is comfortably the highlight of his admittedly glittering cricket career. Please give a very warm 2 full tossers welcome to Farhaan Behardien.
Hey! Woo!
Yo, hello guys.
I guarantee you there were at least 90% of the people listening to that going, who the hell is Farhaan Behardien? And they go, oh, it's Fudge. It's Fudgy. Yes, it's him.
Nice. Little Fudgy. How are you, sir?
Hello guys. Yeah, I'm very good, thank you. Our season is done, so I'm currently on holiday. Yeah, so it's quite nice to come through the season unscathed from a injury point of view. So that's always good as you get older. But yeah, I'm doing really well, and yeah, thanks for having me on the show.
Well, it's the end of your 17th season, so you're almost halfway through your first-class cricket career, which is an important milestone. Before we find out what your relationship is with my charming co-host, Mr. Committie, very quickly, can you count on one hand the number of people who actually call you Farhaan?
I think it's only my mom. Yeah, I think it's literally only my mom. So one person.
And probably in that stern voice when like you forgot Mother's Day.
I introduced myself as Fudgy just because like it's so much easier. It started at school and it's stuck ever since.
Oh, all right. Well, speaking of school, Alan Committie, would you like to introduce the relationship that you have with the gentleman in screen as yet another scantily clad woman walks past in the background?
I know, I saw that as well. Disturbing. I'm a bit sad that he's already referenced his age, how old he is. Oh, I'm getting old. I've played so long, because that makes me older. But I'm happy to report that this young man was one of my learners. That's what they call them now. A student back at Westerford when I was teaching. I don't know if you know this, Dan. I was a teacher for a number of years. I don't teach anymore. The restraining order is very specific about that. But this was a young lad who I think was in my grade 8 to, no, in fact, it was probably my grade 10 class when I first started teaching. And then he ended up in first team cricket. And my ex-housemate, Jonathan Coburn, was his first team coach. So I did a lot of umpiring for those games. So I saw the development of this lad through the early part of his cricket career and the huge strides he was making. And perhaps we should start this little interview by saying, you were a better rugby player than you were a cricket player, and you were a very fine cricketer. But you were a fantastic winger, sir. That's true, isn't it?
100% correct. I love the rugby more than I love cricket. And the story where Alan is, what he's referencing to is, it was in 1999. That's how long ago it was. He was my drama teacher at school. And we used to have all these skits, and we used to play broken telephone, like, this, and it was such an amazing release from school. So our relationship goes way, way back. And there are a few stories with him, with umpiring, but going back to the rugby question, I was very close to playing Craven Week in my final year at school. But my defense was a shocker. I won't lie to you. My defense wasn't great. I was a stone little kid, but I was really quick. I mean, I'm sure Alan could attest to that on a Saturday morning up at Imhoff Sports Grounds. And Mr. Coburn, who was our rugby coach, I mean, he was he was quite stern and quite like serious, but yeah, we used to love. I mean, I loved playing rugby, and at that time, I wished I played rugby over over cricket. But as it all happened, cricket cricket became my life, and I'm very thankful for that.
You possessed a very fine chip, if you remember, Fudge. They would get the ball to you down the back line, and then you would chip over their defense. So your defense might have been awful, but that was mostly because you were chasing your own balls that you had kicked further down the field. And most times when you did, you kind of scored.
That was my signature move, the chip and chase.
Chip and chase, and that was in cricket.
What are your memories of Alan as a teacher, Fudge? And who do you think is the better actor, Alan Committie or Stuart Broad, when he's nicked one to fourth slip and just stands there?
The memories I have of Alan, they are very happy memories. They are, like I mentioned, the classes that we had, the drama classes we had, because that's what he taught when we interacted with each other, and not as a result of his restraining order, but it was brilliant. It was a release from school. School was pretty hectic at Westerford High School, but it was again last year the best academic school in the Western Cape. And when I was in school, it was the best academic school in the country, which probably, yeah, just kind of highlight how brilliant or how intellectual I am, basically. And yeah, no, he was a brilliant teacher. He was a brilliant teacher, and he introduced fun into our lives from a pretty hectic school schedule. And some pretty fun moments. And there are two stories I'd like to share with you. Well, actually three, but the third one is quite a nice one. But the second, they were the Westerford versus Rondebosch Boys High.
You were there in that game.
There was a knockout game. There was a certain Jonathan Trott that was playing for Rondebosch Boys High. And Alan Committie was the umpire, and he was obviously the bee's knees, and an LBW appeal went up from our team, and Alan Committie had no shame, and he gave him out LBW, and it wasn't out. 100% wasn't out, but he was a true Westerfordian, nil nisi optimum. I still remember our Latin slogan.
Yeah.
And he gave their best player out, and he gave us a foot up in the game, which is brilliant.
Now,
true Westerfordian.
Missing two things there. One, it was out. If you remember, Jonathan Trott had played across the line, and yes, the ball was a short of a length, but it didn't actually rise above the knee joint on his knee on his pad. So he was out. I don't know where you were standing. Knowing you had dozed off at mid-off. So I don't think you would have noticed. And B, you'll remember that his father, who was at square leg, who was a fearsome man, was very unhappy with me. And if I remember correctly,
he was. He was the umpire.
That's square leg. And he swore at me, and I said, that's fine. You can. Yeah, he was very unhappy. Anyway, the two of them went off to England. I don't know what happened to Jonathan Trott. I don't even know if he had a career or anything. But the point about it is nil nisi optimum, first of all. And I was a bowler's umpire, if I'm honest.
His father owned a cricket shop in Rondebosch in the Riverside Mall. That's how I know him. And then the second story. Say again.
I was just going to say, Jonathan Trott's dad, just before you arrived, he coached me at UCT. And he was the only person who would arrive at UCT in full cricket whites, including his trousers, as coach. And the rest of us would arrive when we'd found in res and come stumbling up to practice. And there was Mr. Trott in his complete white, ready to coach us.
We should also just say that although you say I gave the side a heads up or a leg, by giving him out LBW, we still lost by about 450 runs. in that game. So let's not pretend it really ended the match.
All right. Story number 2, Fudge. Story number 2.
Playing an old boys game, and I'm myself being an old boy and my brother being in Westerford, and he was in the first team. And playing at Imhoff, and Mr. Committie, Alan, was umpire. And he gave me out LBW, old boys game.
Yeah. Boring.
But,
you were doing nothing.
I was out, though, to be brutally honest.
Yeah, you were out. And you
he gave me out. So, like, I mean, I think the common denominator is Alan Committie giving out LBW decisions.
Hang on. I'm ahead of my time, because before DRS, umpires were ridiculously conservative. And now when we look back, we realize that, in fact, more times than not, the ball is striking, at least a proportion of the ball is striking a much wider set of stumps. And in fact, I was probably proved right in almost all my decisions. So stuff you.
Brilliant. No, that those are some of the memories I have. It is absolutely brilliant. Well, there's a third story.
Yeah,
which is quite cool. Well, we were in the Caribbean playing with South Africa, Australia, and West Indies. We were playing triangular, and we went Barbados. And and all I heard is fudgy, and I couldn't make out why fudgy was being called from stands. And Alan was in the Caribbean. It was always one of his dreams to go to the Caribbean and watch cricket, and he fulfilled that dream. And I was fortunate enough to be playing for our country at the time, so I thought that was quite a cool story. Like 16 years later, we kind of met up again after a long time, and I was playing for our country, and he was fulfilling his dream of watching cricket in the Caribbean. So that was a pretty cool story.
That was a fun moment. And to be fair, that game again didn't go our way, sadly, but it was a beautiful surroundings, and good to see. In fact, what was more amazing is when I went down to the bottom. It wasn't full, the stands. I don't know why.
No,
there were riots or something, or people were unhappy with the selection, as they often are in the West Indies. They were unhappy with the selection of the side, but anyway, that wasn't well supported. But there was a group of us South Africans who had gone across there, and I went right down to the edge of the field, and I called you out. They'd put you down at I think long leg, and I said fudgy, and
yes.
you ran, and the first thing you said was "sir," which I thought was very respectful, and I was deeply appreciative. That was the last time you called me sir, and that's probably right as well.
Well, people from Westerford are very proud to be from Westerford. I mean, I'm sure you've come across this over your time. And Dan, honestly, like any pupils that go to Westerford High School are so proud to have been at Westerford High School. Like I can't even describe that particular feeling. So it was quite nice to see a fellow Westerfordian there. It was pretty cool.
You're a good man. Maybe the last thing we'll talk about the school quickly is that you were in a side and you were just a fantastic young cricketer, and certainly just kept growing in huge strides. But I think the real reason you were chosen initially, and I don't know if this has ever been explained to you, but maybe this is the opportunity, is that your mother made the most delicious cricket teas. And the tuck shop at Westerford first team that spread across the Western Cape. We even got Bishops and Weinberg to play us simply to taste your mother's tea. So maybe that's where the thanks should go.
She even got an honors award at the back end of her 10-year service. She got like an honorary honors award. She's up on the she's up in the Westerford Hall as like an honorary like honors award. Like that's the only way that your name gets put up on the wall. I swear, for her teas.
That's amazing.
We'll have to get her to cater the 2 full tossers annual gala picnic at Fishhook Beach, which we're still in the process of planning. And those were obviously the highlights of your career, but you did have 1 or 2 other minor moments of consequence. If you look back across the whole career, Fudge, what was the very, very best of them all?
I think we did a 3-peat of the T20 competitions about, I think, 2016, 17, and 18 of the Titans. I think that was pretty special. We were untouchable in the one-pool format for a while, and AB played, Dale played, Quinton, we had such a big side. We unearthed a young Ada Markham, Tabray Shamsi, Junior Dala, Lungingidi, Heinrich Klaassen, who just received his first national contract. We had Boucher at the helm, which was awesome. We had Albie Morkel, who has been on your show. You know, he was an inspirational leader. Vedana Kun, Rolof van der Merwe, David Visser, you know, you can, Morne Morkel, you can go through the list. Chris Marlis eventually joined us because it was, that was his dream as a young kid to play for the Titans. Going to the World Cup, 2015 World Cup was a big part of my success as a player. When I was 9 years old and watched the 1992 World Cup, John Deere running out in Zwamuhak in Australia. I always thought to myself, how cool would it be to play in Australia? Fast forward, what's it, 27 years? No, 22 years, sorry. How's my math said? I'm not really good sign for Westerford's academic school, but fast forward to 2015, from 1992, 18, 15, 23 years later, I was doing the same thing in Australia, playing in the World Cup. So that was pretty special. Those two moments kind of stick out. The three-peat of a T20 comp and representing my country at the 50-over World Cup in Australia and New Zealand.
It's an incredible opportunity. You gave us many great memories, and we are looking forward to many more as I really feel your first-class career is just starting to gain traction and move on. So plenty to come. Not too much to come on the show, though. We have a very special guest who we have on who's going to be joining us in a moment. Alan, I think if you can perhaps get hold of him, if you will. And while that happens, we have a quiz every week, Fudge. And so you are the latest contestant.
Yes.
It is 5 questions. Last week, Paul Adams managed to get 4 out of 5, which is 4 more than Vernon Philander got and 3.5 more than JP Dermody got. So generally, people are very unsuccessful. I think Darren Goff got 3 out of 5. He's the second best. So anything over 2 is world class. Are you ready for your cricket quiz, Mr. Fudge?
Yeah, go on. Let's hit it.
All right. Question 1. Let's start with your one-day international debut for South Africa. Who got the Man of the Match award in that game?
Freaking hell. I know it was run out. We played New Zealand. We played New Zealand in Kimberley, so we lost the game. I want to say maybe Martin Guptill.
Martin Guptill would be the guy who ran you out, but he wasn't the guy who got Man of the Match. That was, in fact, Kane Williamson, got 145 not out in that game.
You know. Okay. Note out of 1.
A note out of 1. All right. Question number 2. Let's go to your first-class debut. You played against Eastern Province. Who batted at 4 in the first innings as night watchman and went on to become an iconic South African cricketer?
Night watchman. Vernon Philander?
It was actually Paul Adams.
Oh, my word. Okay, so naught out of 2.
Naught out of 2. All right, on to question number 3. Here's a photo of a former teammate of yours batting. Who's the batsman here? Former teammate of yours.
Former teammate?
Former teammate of yours.
It looks like Shahid Afridi.
Well, that is correct. Do you remember which team you played together for?
Toronto. We played in Canada together. I played for the Edmonton Royals. Edmonton Royals.
Oh, there we go. All right, 1 out of 3. You're on a roll here, Fudge. All right. Our paths crossed at UCT. We both look back fondly on those days. I'd like to know which UCT old boy scored not 1 but 2 centuries in the 2011 Cricket World Cup.
Ryan ten
Ryan ten Doeschate. Trick question. He, of course, played for the Netherlands. And I think he's still going strong as well, 40 and still skippering Essex. The pair of you are ageless.
Yeah, I think he's in his last year. I spoke to him fairly recently. I think he's in his last year. He's getting twins. Yeah, I think he's come to the end of his tether. But I learned my cricket from Ratings Carter. We played at UCT together. We had a good relationship, and yeah, he's a good dude.
He's a very, very good dude. Great cricketer, very underrated, and a lovely guy as well. Okay, you have got 2 out of 4. That's pretty good going so far. You're up to 50%. Can you make it 3 out of 5? Is your final question. Name the cricket ground, Fudgy.
Oh my word. Are you gonna give me a country or not really?
No, I can. But you've played here.
I definitely want to say it's Hagley Oval, Christchurch, New Zealand.
I'm afraid not. That's the Carrara Oval in Queensland, where you played your final T20 international for South Africa. Or shall I say your most recent, because you might come back into the team.
No, it's not. No, it's not. I'm going to say that it's wrong. I didn't want to recount. The last time I played a T20 international was at the Metricon Stadium on the Gold Coast, just outside of Brisbane.
Yep, which is also known as the Carrara Oval.
No way.
Yep.
Okay, well then you obviously right.
Oh dear. All right. Well, two out of 5, so better than Vernon and JP.
Shocker.
So. All right, look, we've got a real treat for you for getting 2 out of 5. You're about to get an audience with somebody rather special who we're going to bring in just to wrap things up before we say goodbye to you. He is the Life Vice President of the Northern Griqualand Umpires and Scorers Association. He's very excited to chat to you. Please welcome in meneer Johan van der Walt.
Baie dankie, Daniel. Ach, nee, it's a groot eer, it's a great honoration. You know, to able to talk to someone like you who have represented your country. You know, you've even been a captain. People forget. Jy was kaptein of the T20 side for a short while. Hello, I'm just get your name right here. Farhaan Behardien. Farhaan. It's a lot of bloody vowels, eh? It's too many vowels. Do you have irritable vowel syndrome? Look, it's Farhaan Behardien. I can imagine when your mother gets upset with you, she just elongates the A. So Farhaan! And then if it goes on longer than that, then you know she's the mood that she's really upset with you. Nice to see you, sir. Hello. Talk for me, Pupil. What's going on? You've gone missing. Are you still there? 4G?
I can't. There's no real sound, which is a bit disappointing.
4G, you can't hear me. Look, come in. Help me. Nee, Dan, you may have to come back here because I don't think he can hear from me. This is a problem. Hello?
There we go. Fudge, can you hear me?
I can hear you, definitely.
That's so weird.
And I can hear. Maybe you need to change the settings on your phone to English and Afrikaans, Fudge.
That could be that. You're not bilingual. That's the problem. You haven't got the bilingual setting on.
Yeah.
Take that out your ear. Is that better? Is that better, Pupil?
That is much better.
Much better. Yeah, okay, go away, Dan. I want to talk for this Pupil. I was just saying, nice to see for you. Look, I was nervous there. I was saying that there's too many vowels in your name, that maybe you've got irritable vowel syndrome. You know, that your mother will say for you, on! Like that, because you're such a... Listen, Pupil, it's so nice. It's such an honoration to talk with you. And you were a captain, eh? That was nice. People forget you were captain of the T20 side for a while. That must have been an honoration.
Yes, I kind of forgot about that. You guys asked me a little bit about what was the highlight of my career, and I kind of mentioned maybe success stories, but captain in my country from a little kid from a academic school, that was pretty special, to be honest.
And you was a little kid. Ek onthou vir jou, when you stood in front of the stump, sometimes you could see the bales above your head. Look, no wonder people gave you out LBW. If you got hit with a bouncer, you were still in line with the stumps. Look.
Yeah, no, definitely. How are you doing?
It's beautiful.
Is that a satchel, or what is that? A gun holster?
This is where I keep my cell phone. That is my Nokia, the Nokia 110. It's so old, I've got to see the other person in order to make the call, but it worked very well. It works still very well. I put that in there, and these are my safari suit, which I call the safari suit because you got to travel safari to get one. And they're still available in Bloemfontein, which I think is where you find yourself now. So,
I do.
Yeah. So maybe you can get a couple of these. Beautiful.
Okay. I just purchased a Fortuner recently, so I kind of fit it in while you're in the Bloemfontein crowd.
Good for you. Well, you've made a fortune over the decades. Now, listen, I'm going to ask for you some quick fire questions. Okay, Pupil?
Go on.
So now you don't think, which is good, because I saw some of your results at school, and I know you didn't do that regularly. So you don't think you just give an answer. You just give an answer. Okay. In terms of all-rounders, for you, Jacques Kallis or Ben Stokes?
Jacques Kallis.
Mooi. A tickle to fine leg for 4 or a glide to third man for 4?
Tickle to fine leg.
I know that you like to find. All right. What about Ghost Pops of Monster Munch? Ooh, this is
Ghost
going
Pops.
back. Ghost Pops, man. Bliksem, lekker. This is going to mess with your brain. Scoring a try in the corner after chipping their fullback or hitting a 6 to win a test match. Oh, that's tricky, eh? That one, Bliksem.
Hitting a 6 to win it. Hitting a 6 to win a test match.
You lie so well. That's brilliant. Okay. What about this? Afghanistan or Bangladesh?
Bangladesh.
For wingers, because you were quite good a winger. Let's go old school here. Brian Abana or Chester Williams?
Brian Abana.
Always. Would you prefer Steers or KFC?
KFC. I couldn't.
That's the one you gave the most thought to. It's nice to see your priorities.
Chips are better, but KFC, the double crunch burger is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So
nice.
KFC.
This is the first time your eyes have lit up in this interview. It's quite weird. You're thinking about where your priorities are. I know you're on holiday. Okay, here's one. Titans of Knights. Ooh. Now you got
Titans. Has to be.
Yeah. All right, and then what about this? A World Cup winner or to be number 1 test side?
World Cup winner.
Yeah, well, that's a nice dream, isn't it? That's a nice dream.
Still a dream.
We all had a dream. Yeah, it's all our dream as well, Pupil.
I've played 4 World Cups and nothing has materialized. So
yeah, you think I don't know that? You think I haven't watched all of that? Pupil, it's fine. It's fine. Don't worry. I'm not upset about it. It's fine. No, it's fine. You had a chance and then you stuck it up. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Okay, here's the most important. Yeah, go on.
I'm glad you're not too upset.
I'm not upset. I'm so angry I can't be upset. Here's the most important question you will have all night. Are you ready for it?
Yes.
It has to do with the subjects, met die vak, by die skool. Don't,
Okay.
Please. Science of drama. Science of drama. For you.
Drama.
Daar is die antwoord. Forget the World Cup victory. You're the winner in my eyes, my friend. Baie dankie, nee, Forgie. Baie dankie vir die gevraagdry. I've got better things to do.
Lekker aan verder.
It's nice to see for yourself. Hey, beautiful. I'm going.
Cheers.
I'm going. Boy.
Bye.
Okay, the great Johan van der Val. What a special treat for you there tonight, Fudgy.
Brilliant treat. Thank you.
We'll get Alan back in just a moment as we wrap up. But before we do say goodbye to you, though, looking ahead, I know you were supposed to be over playing in England, and Brexit has stuffed things up there with going to play for Durham. What does the cricket future hold for Fudgy?
Yeah, look, I think I'll just be in South Africa for the next 6 months, taking some time off the next couple of months, play a lot of golf. Then start our pre-season for next season, season number 18. Yeah, so hopefully that'll be a plan.
All right, and still, you got a great 140 odd the other day. You're looking in good nick. 17 years on, is the fire still there? Are you still enjoying it? Still having fun?
Yeah, I think COVID has kind of extended my career a little bit. I always wanted to maybe finish. I think the biggest thing for professional sportsmen is to kind of finish when they want to finish, or at least have a say in when they want to finish. Either, they don't want it to be an injury or a loss of form. People, if they can, want to retire on a high. Sean Pollock did that when he could. I think he won a game for South Africa in the 50-over game against New Zealand, if I'm not mistaken. So a lot of people have retired on a high. So I still feel I have a lot to offer. I think my goals have kind of changed. I want to kind of lend my knowledge to as many of the younger players in South Africa as I can. I'm still fit and I'm still strong. I want to win trophies with a different team. I've been very fortunate to win enough trophies with the Titans. And I think, as I've mentioned, COVID has kind of extended my career a little bit longer, a little bit further. So that hunger is I'm very hungry to perform and still show that I can be successful even at a different team and still at this particular level. So I'll be taking some time off and I'll get back into the gym and get back into the nets, and hopefully next season we can win a few trophies with the Knights.
All right. Well, now Alan will be watching particularly closely, and it's wonderful, Alan, on tonight's show, on tonight's episode, to have had both of Westerford's success stories.
That's right. Cricket success stories. You're absolutely right. Me in my fielding, catching out Herschel Gibbs when he scored 168 or 14 deliveries, catching him off a full toss at mid-wicket. And then Fudgy, who's gone on to just remarkable things. And let's not forget, one of the great finishers in the short formats of the game. The number of times you have finished games and won games, particularly for the Titans, as you say, in that golden period. You're a man who doesn't look necessarily physically imposing at the wicket, but somehow you get the ball up in the air and over the fielders and score the run. You make us proud.
Thank you.
This is,
Thank you, man. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem.
So there we go. Our special Westerford Love-In edition of Two Supporters, featuring our very special guest, Farhaan Behardien, with I have to say, Fudge, the fringe is looking more magnificent than ever. So definitely a sign that there is plenty more cricket to come. So good luck with the next sort of 5, 10, 15 years of first-class cricket as you and Henry Davids continue to fly the flag for elderly cricketers across South Africa. And hopefully we'll see you on the golf course soon.
Cheers. Thanks, man. Thanks, Alan. Nice chatting.
Cheers, man. Cheers, Fudge.
So there we go. That was special. You're looking like a proud dad there, Alan Committie.
It is. If you knew that little lad when he was at school who wouldn't say boo to a goose, and we had a number of geese on the ground, which was part of the problem why we didn't achieve at Westerford, is all the geese and ducks. But that's a different story. But this man who was so quiet, to go on and to literally be a captain of the country, and I know how respected and loved he is at the Titans setup. I've spoken to some of those players. You know them as well. This was fun, man. It was nice to see someone who's still in love with the game, which is fantastic. Good luck to him.
Indeed, there is. All right. And of course, that was Farhaan Behardien, who was on the show. Initially, we had been planning to have Kevin Peterson, but luckily, thanks to Alan's connections, we were able to get Fudgy instead. Have a fantastic cricketing week. Alan, enjoy that Dolphins-Titans final kicking off on Thursday. And we'll see you back again next Monday for some serious introspection on the world of cricket.
Good night.
Good night.